300 Tanzanians face treason charges as opposition denies talks with Suluhu government. And over 300 people in Tanzania are facing the highest crime in the country, that of treason. Now, those charged were arrested in the aftermath of the discredited general elections of late last month and include politicians, influencers, ordinary citizens, and some as young as 13 years of age. Now, the charges come as the opposition Chadema's leadership denied engaging in talks with the Samia Suluhu-led government. Now, the developments in Tanzania come as the UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk called for investigations into the killings and other violations committed in the context of the 29th October elections in Tanzania, as the reports emerged that bodies may have been taken by security forces to undisclosed locations. Here are the full details to the story.
Kama tulivyokamatwa ndivyo tulivyoachiwa. Hakuna mazungumzo yoyote tuliyofanya na mtu yoyote. Nataka hili liwe very clear kwenye public, kwa sababu watu wasilete propaganda kwamba tumeachiwa kwa makubaliano fulani. Hatuna makubaliano tulioachiwa nayo. Bado sisi ni watu tunaamini ni innocent, na tunataka watu wengine wote wanaoshikiliwa kinyume cha utaratibu waachiwe, waende kwenye familia zao.
Leaders say Ruto now confused after Kalonzo'S Nyanza reception. And the united opposition has hit back at President William Ruto over his claims that they were driven by political greed, saying the head of state is worried by Wiper leader Kalonzo'S reception in Nyanza, which they say complicates his political matrix. Now, the leaders spoke on Tuesday after attending the burial of Terry Kariuki, the wife of the late J.M. Kariuki, at Kanyamwe farm in Gilgil, in Nakuru County. Now, they took a swipe at Ruto, calling him a confused president, and said his political calculations have hit a dead end as the opposition is now acceptable in Nyanza. Here are the full details to this story.
Nimeona huyu Kasongo jana akilia, akisema ya kwamba ati kuna wanaume watano wanakutana ati kugawa serikali. Huyu Kasongo hana habari, amechanganyikiwa. Unajua, tangu alienda pale Kisumu, pale Bondo kulia machozi ya uongo, akisema atanalia mambo ya Raila. Kalonzo akaenda pale, Mama Aida na wote familia wakasema wanatabua Kalonzo. Huyu Kasongo amechanganyikiwa. Hao wanaume watano wanakutana na mama moja. Hakuna serikali wanagawa, wanapanga vile utaenda nyumbani. Hiyo ndio kazi iko mbele. Na hakuna mtu nagawa serikali. Tumeambiwa na watu ya Kenya, kazi yetu ya kwanza ni kupeleka Kasongo nyumbani. Mambo ya serikali tutaongea baadaye.
Rigiji akatuuliza, nasikia nyinyi wawili mnatafuta na Kasongo. Na akatuambia mkiitwa msisahau kuniita. Rigiji, nataka nikwambie ya kwamba tukiitwa, mimi na Kalonzo tutaambia Kasongo, huyo kuzo wetu Rigiji ndio spokesman wetu. Kama unatafuta Wamalwa, kama unatafuta Kalonzo, wewe enda kule wa Munyoro, tafuta Rigiji uzungumza naye.
Kuna mambo ya historical injustice in this country, na kuna pia mambo ya reparations. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kuendelea na nchi ambayo historia yake ni ngumu, na lazima hiyo ngumu historia lazima ichambuliwe, lazima tuiangalie na tufanye marekebisho.
Relief to ex-governor Lenonkulal at the High Court overturns 8-year jail term in 83 million graft case. And former Samburu Governor Moses Lenonkulal has walked free after the High Court overturned his conviction and 8 a jail term, ruling that the prosecution failed to prove corruption and conflict of interest allegations against him. And the High Court faulted the prosecution's case, saying there was no credible evidence linking the governor to the operations or profits of Oryx Service Station, the fuel supplier at the center of the 83 million corruption case. Now, the governor had been accused of using his position as governor to influence the award of fuel supply contracts to Oryx Service Station, a company alleged to be linked to him. And but the court found that at the time of the transactions, Oryx was under a lease agreement between businessman Hezbon Jack Wachira Ndathi and the governors, with the former paying rent of 70,000 a month. And the ruling also freed Ndathi, who was accused of acting as the governor's proxy, and former Samburu County Chief Officer Bernard Lesumat, who was said to have facilitated payments to the company. Here are the full details from the courts. And away from that story to 6 KWS Rangers linked to last known movements of missing fisherman Brian Odhiambo. And the police officer investigating the disappearance of fisherman Brian Odhiambo has identified 6 KWS Rangers as the last people who interacted with him before he went missing. Now, Chief Inspector Julius Muhiri told the court that from analysis, Odhiambo's phone signals were close to the suspect's phones at the time he is alleged to have been arrested for trespassing into Nakuru National Park to do illegal fishing. Now, Muhiri also told the court that the KWS Rangers never booked the arrest or escape of Odhiambo in their occurrence book. Here are the full details to this story.
We were able to see that they were in close proximity with Brian Odhiambo at around 10:00 hours to 11:00 hours. That was the time when Brian Odhiambo was reportedly arrested by the said KWS officers. The KWS officers that day never booked any suspect that had escaped from their custody or incident that they had arrested anyone who had escaped. However, we noted in the remarks column in that occurrence book, there was an entry that was appended there. This confirms actually that they had arrested the said person, and the evidence that was brought before us indicated actually they know whereabouts of Brian Odhiambo, and they have continued to confine him. Brian Odhiambo has never been found.
And we started off with a Daily Nation as Kenya strikes 680 billion gold. and rich lord residents of Isulu and Bushingala in Ikolomani, Kakamega County, are on the verge of a windfall of British farm has revealed massive gold deposits in the area and is now seeking clearance to mine the precious metal in a venture that promises a fortune for investors, county, and local communities. This is a story that you'll find on page 3 of the Daily Nation this morning. And Isulu in Bushingala, where processing infrastructure will be set up. That would mean an opportunity for employment for other people of the area. Now, fact file. Now, Shanta Gold, the mining farm, is from Gwensme in the British Isles, and the farm will pump 27 billion into the project in Isilu and Bushingala in Ikolomani, and sites to yield 1,285,470 ounces of gold, and they are valued at about 4,111 per ounce. An ounce is about 4,111 US dollars, and which totals to about 5.284 billion US dollars, an equivalent of 683 billion. Now, the farm also has mining projects in Siaya and Vihiga counties. And away from that, inside 558 million Shah Hospital payment fraud, and Philin Chima Hospital Limited did not exist on February 15th this year, yet on the same day, the company filed an application seeking to be registered as a 168 bed hospital. Within 48 hours of that application, it had been allowed to offer services between May 16 and June 16, 2025. It received 12.3 million from the Social Health Insurance Fund as payment for patients it claimed to have treated. Now, Philin Chima is now one of 45 hospitals. A multi-agency team is investigating over irregular payments from SHIF, totaling 558.7 million Kenyan shillings. Among other stories, ghost learners blame ministry, not us, said teachers. And why are the teachers shifting the blame? The Daily Nation is telling you this morning. And from that now to the Standard. See, hear no evil. And Kenya's largest employer of educators, the Teachers Service Commission, stands accused of turning the country's classrooms into cash cows for corrupt officials. The collision of field officers and politicized recruitments to ethnic favoritism and stalled promotions, and EACC report paints a damning picture of rot and dysfunction inside the very body meant to safeguard teachers' welfare. As technology fails, morale plummets, and unions cry foul. The question lingers: who will teach integrity when tutors are themselves under siege? That is a story that you'll find on page 4 of the Standard this morning. And rampant corruption. Some of the things that are hindering or that befalling the teaching service. One includes rampant corruption, bribes demanded for jobs, promotions, and transfers, with TSC ranked among Kenya's most graft-ridden institutions. Insufficiency and bias. Now, portal failures, stalled promotions, and alleged ethnic and political favoritism in recruitment and advancement. And 3, teacher frustration, poor service delivery, unfair transfers, and exploitive internship terms, eroding morale and trust in the commission. Those are some. That is a summed up report about the teaching service in the country. So grab yourself a copy of the Standard to get to read about that in extension. This is the weather as in Murang'a. It is going to be mostly cloudy with highs of 27 degrees and lows of 16 degrees. In Kisumu, it is going to be mostly sunny with highs of 30 degrees and lows of 17 degrees. And in Mombasa, it is going to be mostly cloudy with highs of 30 degrees and lows of 25 degrees. And in Nairobi, it is going to be mostly cloudy with highs of 25 degrees and lows of 17 degrees. And this is your morning quote. In war, the heroes always outnumber the soldiers 10 to 1. H.L. Mencken is the author of that quote. In war, the heroes always outnumber the soldiers 10 to 1. That is your morning quote this morning. And that sums up about what we've had for you this morning. Let us see you tomorrow as we keep you up to speed with what is happening in the country. Good morning.